Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Well, we're back. It's Monday. It is Monday. It's Motivational Monday, and this is the week, actually tomorrow is the day, that we start the Hot Melt 30. So, very small crowd today. Very small crowd today thus far. But you know what? Maybe you'll end up in here. That would be good. There's Carla. It's good to see you, Carla. Happy Memorial Day. You know, it seems weird to say Happy Memorial Day because it's really a somber holiday, isn't it? You know, we honor the dead that have served. And so, you know, of course, we are doing that as well with you. Hi, Juanita. Hi, Carol. Hi, Trisha. And yes, a good Memorial Day. That's a better way to say it. Hi, Betsy. Martha, good to see you. Getting ready, a lot of us are on this holiday for tomorrow because the Hot Melt 30 is when it's starting, is June 1st to June 30th. It's 30 days of all the way up the thing, right? Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you. So don't forget, now we have this, I think Jenny did this. We have the Hot Melt 30 rules checklist, extra ones if you want them. And I believe Jenny put that all out there. Jenny's always thinking ahead, which is really fabulous. Carla's here. I didn't see Carla. Hi, Carla. Well, yes, I did. I saw Carla first. I said hello. Anyway, I am really, everybody's looking forward to this. Jenny said she's looking forward to creating awesome habits with the Hot Melt 30 this month. It is going to help create. And I've been having kind of a dry run with it and working hard with it as well. And, you know, it really helps using your journal along with this because that's just really has just, you know, put the whole thing together. Our journals are basically taking our goals and squishing them down to 12 weeks, you know? I mean, obviously, some things that we measure everything. Of course, we can't lose, you know, 100 pounds in just 12 weeks if that was your goal for the year. But what we can do is certainly take a big chunk out of that, can't we? There's Joanne and Noreen and Corliss. So glad you're here. And that's what this does. And this helps with developing goals that aren't just goals that sit in a notebook somewhere, but they're actually actionable and put into play every single day. It makes such a big difference. We are so glad you're back, Noreen. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? We are so thoroughly glad you're back. We have success tools in our shop. And one of the ones that I just absolutely love, of course, and you do too, because these fly out the door, are our quote decks. And we have little stands that these quote cards go on, just like so. Here's my current one. One of the happiest moments in life is when you let go of things you cannot change. And I have that form just to keep myself reminded of, you know, don't we all have things in our lives that we struggle with and we think about and what have you? I mean, we all have something, right? Nobody has this just everything is easy type of a thing. So that's a reminder that, you know, shift your thinking, girlfriend. Just shift it up a little bit. Hi, Suzanne, Sarah, Janet, Vanessa. Yes, Doris is here as well. Emily's here. Lucy's here. Yeah, that's what it's all about. When we are able to shift our thinking. And that's why I want to talk about fear this week. And wait till you hear what we got here. It's Fear Week. This is like Shark Week, only different. You know, there's no fish or mammals involved here, but we're going to be talking about things that are scary and sometimes under the water that haunt us, right? What do you think of that? It'll be interesting. So quote decks you can find at savingdinner.com/quote. We also have our mindful mug. You can find that at savingdinner.com/mug. Now I just sang these flip and quickly, but really if you spend some time reading what they're about and why, you're going to see why we call them success tools. They're just very effectual. That's what I know. Hi, Priscilla. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And buckle up, sisters, because the supplement of the week, we're going to have a run on it. You ready? It's beauty support. And this one is a buy 3, get 1 free. I'm not kidding. It's like the gala all over again. You're going to want to get this because we do have a limited supply. However, we have enough for this week, we believe. Hi, Jane. Good to see you, Sandy. I'm glad you're here. Buy 3, get 1 free. And do I have to tell you about beauty support? You guys know about this, right? This is the needle mover. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take I take extra all the time just because I'm that person. Beauty support helps you to make your own collagen. So along with good skincare, an anti-inflammatory diet, and getting lots of collagen in, you're going to get an extra bottle of this. That's a $49 value, by the way. SavingDinner.com/show is where you get it. I know Sarah said, get ready to sell out of beauty support. I know that. The thing is, it doesn't go bad. It's this stuff, everything that we have is super fresh because it's done in small batches for us. Hey, Jen, good to see you. It is the bomb. I know Joanne takes it like crazy. Hi, Diane, I'm glad you're here. She takes it like crazy. I take it like crazy. It just works. And if you've ever seen the picture if you saw our gorgeous skincare webinar, you can see a picture of me 10 years ago. My skin looks better today than it does 10 years ago when I was in my 50s. So it's pretty incredible how this stuff really works. And that's part of the whole thing with Hot Melt 30. So I'm giving you links. Hot Melt 30 you can find at savingdinner.com/30. You can spell it out. You can numerically put it out however you want to do it. 30. Okay? That's how you get on that. It's not too late. But come on, you want to do the full 30 days. It's going to be epic. That's number 1. Number 2, success tools. Get your quote decks because this helps to change your mind. savingdinner.com/quote. Number 3, go get your mug. savingdinner.com/mug. And don't you dare put it in the dishwasher. Okay? We found that out the hard way. That you can find your mug there. And then beauty support. That is found at savingdinner.com/show. Use the show link. Okay? When you use the show link, that's how you get it. And we've disabled all kinds of links so that you know what to do. You put 3 in your cart. You go boom, boom, boom. There's a little drop down, help you to write the 3. And then we will automatically send you that 4th one for free. Go get it. savingdinner.com/show. It's live, baby. Live from New York. Anyway, that's all our goodies for this week. Pretty cool way to start, right? I think so. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Rensky. Good to see you. My goodness, look at you guys. I love Emily's she's cooking away. I know she's busy. Emily likes to do all the work, get all the work done. So that's what we have going on, and we start in earnest tomorrow. And I just want to say one other thing. I've had a few people who are just feeling a little overwhelmed about all the preparation and what have you. This is essentially sprinting. So if you are a seasoned sprinter and you want to do things a little bit on your own, just stay the course on the sprint. You can buy the groceries, you can do the recipes. There's going to be a ton of people doing that. But you can also simplify it too if you want to. I just want you to do the work because there's a lot of things that go along with it. It's not just the food. There's a lot of fun stuff with it. So I'm just saying that to give you a break. Okay? Yeah, my hot melt mix. Right now, Mark is on my list. He took my hot melt mix off my desk. So I've got 2 cups of tea. I've got some oolong going on here. I've got I showed you that whatever it was, the detox tea that I have. I got all the things. You are starting tonight? Yes, I'm going to bed early too. Are you kidding? That dog keeps me up. And his little, you see that scratch? That was from his big fang. I'll tell you what, he is incredible. He's a piece of work. He's learned to ring the bell. I'm calling it the butler bell because usually you ring the bell to let me know you got to go out and go to the bathroom. Easy, right? And smart dog. Now it's like ring the bell. No, I just want you to come outside and throw the ball. or I just want to go outside and kind of sniff around, or I just want to do whatever it is that I want to do. I'm a dog and I'm control you. That's what Lincoln's about right now. Not so fast, bud. I've got you. All right. Here's our quote of the week. This one is a good one. One reason people resist change is because they focus, good word, on what they have to give up instead of what they have to gain. I love that. You know, we always, we get ourselves all in a little, thinking about, you always see this every sprint. Oh my gosh, I can't drink my coffee black. Well, listen, yes, you can. You can do whatever you want to do. You just have to do it, and you make up your mind and make a decision and you do it. And then you drink your first cup of black coffee and you say, yuck. And then you get used to it. And then all of a sudden it's like you putting cream in your coffee is yuck. I'm telling you, if you make a decision, you can change your mind at any point. It's amazing what happens with that. So today we're talking about fear. And in the Hot Milk Sprint group, I asked, what are your fears? And we had like 26 comments. And it was interesting because there's a lot of stuff there. But the thing about fear is, and this is why I asked it, fear is generally the biggest thing that holds us back. A lot of times what happens is fear embraces and envelops a lot of things, a lot of excuses, the obstacles and what have you. And really what's at the front of what the thing is that's holding you back is fear. Fear. So when we understand, when we go back to that whole Robin Sharma quote of what we focus on expands and what we dwell upon becomes our destiny, if we put fear in there, if we say instead, when we focus on fear, it expands. When we dwell upon fear, it becomes our destiny. That's a pretty frightening way to think about it, isn't it? Because that's how malicious, if you will, fear can be. That's how malignant fear can be. It's growing. It's like I said, it's like Shark Week, only different. It's under the water and it has a big bite and it's scary. We can't see it necessarily until that big old fin comes along, right? It's pretty scary. So when that focus becomes fear, it can paralyze us. It could put us in a place of high anxiety even. If you've ever had an anxiety attack, you know what it feels like, a panic attack. It's terrible. I've had a few. I was going through that, years and years ago, had that. And that was part of the whole thing. And it was just debilitating. That's how big my fear was. But what I've learned and what I'm a work in progress. Believe me, what I have learned is that fear limits, it distracts from what it is that you really want. And it also feeds your excuses. Have you noticed that? It feeds your excuses. It's like this, you know how if you've got a food addiction, like I did, where it was, not only sugar, but also bottomless pit. When you feed that, it just becomes worse. You have to stop it, right? You have to stop it. That's the same thing with fear. So if we recognize that fear that we carry with us and coddle and protect, a lot of us do, by the way, we excuse it and we say, yeah, but you don't understand. Yeah, but you don't understand when we're trying to defend ourselves against anybody saying like, well, you shouldn't be fearful about that. I mean, you don't want anybody shitting on you, but you know what I'm saying? When we do that, we have to recognize that sometimes, these fears that we carry around with us, they're outdated, they're old, they don't serve us anymore, they're no longer valid, right? And we can stop giving in to all of them and start pushing back on fear. We can. It's fully within our ability to do so. And so if we yap at it away, then what we're doing is coddling and protecting a fear. We're giving more of our energy toward a fear than we are in fixing it. Isn't that funny? But that's how we are. That is how we are. Fear does that. It rolls us basically into this coddle factor of allowing us to hold the fear as more precious than getting over it. That's the weird thing about it. If you think about it, it's true. Hi, Angie. I'm glad you're here. So that's how fear is. And it seems like it's a big, scary monster. But at the end of the day, it really is that little old man behind the curtain. Remember that? Don't give any mind to that man behind the curtain. And Toto pulls back the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. What everybody saw, what everybody was fearing, really was this like little old man behind a curtain. And when we pay attention to the little old man behind, or to the big, scary, seemingly big fear, what we're not understanding is a lot of times that it isn't as obnoxious and as scary and as awful as we think it is. Kristen's absolutely right. She said fear is a liar. It is a liar. Just like the Wizard of Oz was nothing more than somebody's creation. It's just that way. So where do we begin with all of this? Well, number one, of course, is that we have to acknowledge that we have these fears. And you all very bravely wrote down a lot of your fears. Sarah put down a beautiful song that had a lot to do with the different fears. And I asked about that because I wanted to acknowledge them. I also wanted to acknowledge you and say, good for you for saying this, because I think a lot of times too, when we expose something to light, when we expose darkness to lightness, it takes away some of the strength of it, doesn't it? I feel like it does. It does for me anyway. These are some of the things. I'm just going to read from my list that you wrote down. And I want you to hear this, because even if you read the thread, listening to it, and for me, writing it, it's quite an eye-opener. So I didn't write down how many times the one thing was said. I just wrote it down. But for example, one of this, fear of judgment, that was written a few times. So fear of judgment, failure, letting others down, success, health issues, financial ruin, family disowning me, natural disasters, true joy, abandonment, not being good enough, fear of being thin, not being able to help in a time of need, change, the unknown, another thing I failed at, having another thing I failed at in reference to, perhaps doing the Hot Melt 30. Afraid I can't break a bad habit, decision-making, a loving relationship, not being able to find one, disappointing myself again, being left out or behind or left behind, fear of heights, confrontation, fear of being unloved, having no purpose, of getting taken advantage of again, rejection, not living in my life fully, getting started in business, not having enough, not having the ability or the strength to face hard stuff. That's a lot. And I think all of us at some point could have written these, couldn't we? At some point, there's this little check in your heart, isn't there? That says, yeah, I get that. I understand that. When I read, for me, my big fear was fear of abandonment. When I read fear of abandonment, I had a little quicken in my spirit. Have you ever had that? Almost kind of a butterfly thing, like, yeah, I can really relate to that. Heights a little bit maybe, but there's certain things that you go, yeah, check that box, check that box. We can relate to them. That doesn't mean we need to live them though, right? And I guess that's kind of where we are, because what we have to understand is fear is a normal, evolutionary, if you will, response. This is why God gave us the brain that he did, why we have the amygdala, that keeps us safe. It keeps us from being eaten from a saber-toothed tiger. It keeps us safe. So we have these fears, but I want to just talk about how sometimes fear is an appropriate response, and then it becomes inappropriate, but we still keep it. That's the thing that I'm talking about today. So for example, let's say you had a scary dog when you were 5 years old. A scary dog came and just scared you to death, just scared the pants off of you, or bit you even, or whatever. And after that, you had this fear of dogs. And I've met people like that, and they said, here I am with this sloppy puppy. This is, years ago, and they're like, oh, scary dog, get him away from me. Okay, puppy is a scary dog. To them, it was because of their experience in childhood. But as you grow up, and you realize that not all dogs are like that. Not all dogs are going to be the scary dog that's going to go rah, 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 right there in your face or bite you or whatever. But still, you might have to figure out what to do about this, because it means that you have to get into the trenches to overcome that fear. Even though it's no longer applicable for you today, and even though you've seen lots of friendly dogs and lots of people getting along with dogs and getting puppy kisses and all of that, you still have that fear. It's not irrational, but it's old and it's outdated and it's not all dogs. But you have to do the work to get past this fear. And that's what we're talking about today, is doing the work to get past the fear, especially the stuff that's outdated. I mean, fear of heights, for example, I look at that, or fear of flying or whatever that, if you have to fly, then definitely you got to do something to deal with that. But if you have a fear of heights, well, you can pretty much avoid most things with heights. There's breathing exercise. There's a lot of things. But I'm talking about the fears that we nurture inside, the ones that are the fear of abandonment, that will color every relationship that we have, that will cause us to maybe react in a certain way. Whereas if we've dealt with that fear, then we wouldn't. Those kind of things. So first of all, we're going to give you 7 things to kind of go through all of this. And then we're going to start tomorrow on I'm going to pick and choose a couple of these different things and really address that type of fear when we're talking about this all this week. Well, the first thing you need to do is identify your fear. And you guys did that, in a great way. I really do do a hat tip for you and just say thank you, because I feel like you trusted me with these fears. Because when we share this is an intimate part of who we are. And when we're sharing this kind of stuff, it does make us a little vulnerable, doesn't it? I think it does. But you know what? It also makes us brave. It also makes us courageous when we just say, hey, it's this. And this is what it is. And what we've done then is shone a light on that darkness and made it just a little bit less scary. So for that has to be the first step. But of course, we're not done there, but just identifying it is enough to start. And number 2 is, and I think this is kind of a fun thing, and we've talked about this before, and yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about the experience file. But, and I got to grab something too. I forgot to grab it. You got to use it. You can use it for your advantage. Here's how. You got to listen to yourself. You got to question it, like, okay, so what is this about? Is this, do I need more information? Is this something that I need to dump because it just no longer works for me? Or what's this all about? When we do that, we're acknowledging, first of all, that we are thinkers and that we have these beautiful, complex brains in our heads that can sort this stuff out if we give it the information that it needs. That's the cool thing. And that's one of the things that I, forever and ever, I will always point you back to the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, because that brain inside of us, that is the supercomputer of all supercomputers, and you can figure it out, and your brain will actually reward you for acting anyway in a risky situation by giving you a nice big hit of dopamine. It makes you feel better, and it rewards you, and it helps to strengthen your cause to get over this fear and to go forward anyway. So that's one of the things, that's the way we use it, is just to say, okay, I've acknowledged it. Here it is. I see you, but I'm going to go anyway and do this, and start to strengthen that up so that you can start to toss that fear aside. And it's really funny how this whole thing works, because it starts to diminish that fear and make it smaller and smaller and smaller. The other thing is, number 3, you can use your goals to create the path to this freedom from fear. You can. Because the thing is, when you make a decision about what it is that you really want in your life, and you've decided to create goals out of them, and especially I Am manifesto type goals, which is what we use in Take Back Your Life, you're writing that out every single day. You're creating and wiring a new pathway, and you can see that fear So maybe one of these fears could hold you back from some of this. Then you can go back to number 2 and say, no, sorry, no, I'm going to do it anyway. Mitigate the risk, get a hit of dopamine, and start wiring a new pathway. Isn't that so cool? That's what goals can do for you. And this is why we're writing them down on a daily basis. And we only have 3. And you guys know this who are doing the journal. This is the whole thing. This is it. This is how we tie the whole thing up. So we turn them into manifestos. We use them on a daily basis. We make these statements that say, I am. And that has nothing to do with fear, does it? It has walking away from fear. That's what it does. If your fear of being thin, I am losing double the weight in half the time, or whatever it is that you put down as your goal, well, there you go. It's telling you something completely different. You're walking toward the goal and walking away from your fear. That I love. Number 4 is you've got to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. That's why we have our community. That's why it's so important that we stay the course and we stay the path on this, because our people who are doing the same thing that we are, they're facing the same stuff. Their fears might be slightly different, but they've got fears too. Nobody's doing this perfectly, by the way. Everyone's trying to do it excellently. Everybody's putting in their best efforts. And when you're with that rising tide, there goes your boat all the way to the top. It's a pretty cool thing. It's strongly recommended. And there's research to prove that surrounding yourself with the right people is the way to get to the place of actually hitting those goals. Number 5 is the difference is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And I'm back. I have this board that I want to show you. You can see. I'm going to go through it ever so slightly quickly. So a fixed mindset says intelligence is set, where a growth mindset says intelligence can be developed. You see that? So that helps us to overcome our fear. We're not set in stone. We can intelligently work through this. Fixed mindset avoids challenges, and that's fear-based, right? But instead, a growth mindset is going to embrace challenges. I love this. A fixed mindset says obstacles are going to put us in the yeah, but place of being defensive or have us giving up, right? Whereas obstacles we persist even with the setbacks. And obstacles very oftentimes are fear. And this is why I brought this all up. Fixed mindset says that efforts are fruitless or worse. That I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just going to disappoint myself again. Have you heard that before in your head? Maybe. But what we say instead is we go after things excellently, don't we? So what we see is that this effort is a path to mastery. And we do have the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and keep going forward. We have grit, not quit. We see criticism, right, is we ignore it, even if it's helpful or useful. But we see criticism, ooh, what's this one say? We learn from it. Yeah, I'm trying to see what happens. Otherwise, we will learn from it. Let me just say this. Nobody loves to be criticized. Nobody wants, constructive criticism. But if we look at the criticism instead of dwelling on the criticism and look at it like, okay, is there anything I can glean out of this mess? Then maybe we can find something that we can use. And then when we see the success of others, if we have a fixed mindset, we feel jealous, we feel threatened, we have envy. Versus if we have a growth mindset, we see the success of others as inspirational, and we get to learn from them, and we see the lessons there, and we experience higher levels of success versus limited levels of success when we have a fixed mindset. And what I found is that fixed mindsets are exactly what keep us in the place of fear. Fixed mindsets. And that's why I wanted to show you this, because I think it's just so helpful. And if you want to read more about that, this is from Carol Dweck's book on growth mindset. And Dweck, D-W-E-C-K is her last name. I believe she also has a TED Talk, but it's very useful because it just makes you say, aha, I want the growth mindset. That's the mindset that I want. And that's kind of foundational for everything. And number 6 is the experience file. We all have one, but it's what's in that file. There are lots of things that we can throw out and just take out the lesson and learn from it. The experience file shows us this is a lesson to use for the next time so that, you don't repeat the same mistake, as opposed to reliving that bad experience over and over and over again. That's why we use the experience file. We don't just pretend the past didn't happen. We take the lessons out and leave the rest. Bingo. There it is. Number 7, remember that failure means trying again and again and again. Failure is something that is a part of getting over fear. You try. You don't make it this time. You try again. You don't make it this time. You try again. Oh, it's a little bit better, but then it comes back. It's like when I think about, at my age, I'm 63, I think about my abandonment issues that I had since I was a kid and how it has impacted relationships as I've gone forward, and how I have to very much be in awareness that that's a fear that can hold me back from having what I want in a relationship. I have to remind myself of that on a continual basis. That's why that's part of my goals. I shared it with you if you were part of the Take Back Your Life Journal workshop. I shared with everyone, part of my goals was on building a better relationship and being very mindful of that. And that's part of it, is to get rid of that fear. Because even when you think you've taken care of a fear, it's gonna be like one of those little prairie dogs. When I lived in Colorado, there are prairie dogs everywhere, and they just stick their little heads up, all over the place. They just stick their little heads up. You think, oh, a big field. Nope, prairie dog. And you don't want a prairie dog coming along and ruining your joy, taking away from your everything that you've got. So we have to start with what if and can you imagine questions to help us to overcome these fears. Because when we believe in change, the change that we want, we can believe in that change. We need to feel it. We need to visualize it. We need to experience that. And it takes a minute. It's little by little, step by step, You create more of what you're focused on. So focus on the solution, not the problem, not the fear. And start believing in yourself and your ability to rise up, to get over it and to leave it all behind. It's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day or whatever, but this is a fight worth taking on. It is a fight because it's a fight for your mindset, for your life, for your goals, for the things that you want. Fear doesn't have to hold us back, but we have to know what we're handling, don't we? And we have to have tactics in order to do it. I want you to rise up and say, I've got this. Because when you do, you're stepping into your vibrancy. That was all what we talked about last week, that V word, right? This is vibrancy. Vibrancy can absolutely be yours, but it doesn't coexist with fear. You can push it down and smash it down. It doesn't have to prairie dog in your life. It doesn't. As long as you've made a decision that this is no longer the case. There you go. Fear week. Oh, we're going to have fun with this one this week. That's right. And that's a good one, Sarah. Sarah says she wants to be an overcomer, not just a survivor. I say, let's be a thriver, not a survivor. I want to thrive. I don't want to just get through something and gritting it by the skin of my teeth. I want to, not only that, I just want to say, I took that shark, I threw him down, and I said, who's the boss? It's me. I own this. That's what we need to do with fear. It doesn't have to have a place in your life if you make a decision that it doesn't. That's how cool it is. Once we start to get a hold of our mindsets, the mindset is the needle mover, total needle mover. So thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you. And this Memorial Day, thanks for taking time out of your day to do this. And I will also say that tomorrow we're going to be going Transformational Tip Tuesday. It's going to be good. We're getting into some real specific fears. You going to join me? I sure hope so. I'll see you then. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.